All right, good people. Hello, welcome. This is my introductory video for my new YouTube channel, New Golden Age of Terra. And this is only take two. I intended to record another video, and I went through the whole thing, which was totally improvised. And it went well, but I failed to hit the record button. So this time it's being recorded. So, what is New Golden Age of Terra all about? It's about a new golden age for me personally. Uh, for one thing, because I either was not motivated to start a YouTube channel or I had no idea what it would be about if I did until recently. And I've been bitten by a bug. Just imagine a giant insectoid of some kind clamping down on me and chowing down. But it's not like a mosquito bite. It's not itchy. It's not painful. And let's say the bug has bitten me to invigorate me. Yeah, not to suck the life out of me, not to suck my blood or something, no, but to give me an improved perspective, a much more optimistic and hopeful perspective on life. So prior to the election kind of figures into this, and you'll see how. It's not a big deal, but it's significant. It's not the overriding big deal. This is not a political channel, but there's a certain significance to it. The US presidential election that happened recently, and the world rejoiced, or some people had meltdowns and cried and all that, but seems like a lot of people rejoiced all over the world that the extreme left and their bid for absolute power, uh, I think we can call it that, honestly, right? Was stymied and stopped, and a different we're going down a different path now, not just the USA, but the whole world. And it's much bigger than Donald Trump, and it's much bigger than purely political considerations. I'll get to that in a moment. So, my new golden age includes the opportunity to start a YouTube channel, to start a Substack, the opportunity and the motivation. The opportunity's always been there. Anybody can start a YouTube channel. Anybody can sign up to Substack. It's free, you know. But you have to have something worthwhile to say. So I have something worthwhile to say now, and I have a little bit of self doubt, but it's not excessive. It's not going to stop me. Uh, the perception and admission of my own limitations is simply going to motivate me to move beyond those limitations and overcome them and break them down and replace them with competence in certain areas. So my concept for making this video was it'll be like a live stream in even though yes, I'm recording this on Meetin, by the way, which is similar to Zoom, and it's a convenient way to record. Nobody has an excuse not to have a YouTube channel because you don't need fancy software. You can record using something like Meetin or Zoom. Just have a meeting with nobody but yourself, or have a meeting with your son or daughter or parent, best friend. Do it with your sibling, whatever, and talk about something you're passionate about that you keep coming back to over and over again. One thing I did consider doing, and I might even start a second channel to do this, was music reactions. The only problem is I've listened to all the music that exists. No, not really, of course, but a lot of it, right? Um, but even if I listen to something I first heard 40 years ago or longer, I'm older than that. I'm 70, just so you know. But yeah, I could do a reaction. Say, well, I've reacted to this song 300 times already, but here's a fresh one for you. And it will incorporate elements of my past reactions, which I didn't articulate to anyone. So that's fine and all, and I might do that for everyone's entertainment and potential edification. But what I have to discuss here is much more important, much more motivating. I love music, and music definitely has a place in life, and I believe it always will. Uh, but I want to talk about ETs, my friends, or let's say non human intelligence. That's one of the subjects, not the entirety of what we'll discuss. But what I firmly believe is going to happen in the near future, the next 4 years, next 8 years, next 12, 16. And of course, that's measuring by presidential terms. But let's say it doesn't necessarily have anything directly to do with that. But just as we move forward into the future, and I hope to live a lot longer, and I hope that most of you will live a lot longer. We don't know when our last day will be for whatever reason, last day in this life on this planet. But in any case, whatever audience I manage to accumulate, and most of you will live on for quite a while. So what we're going to be seeing is science fiction world. Yeah, Cliff High. Cliff High calls it that. If you don't know about Cliff, you should, go avail yourself of what he has to offer. I have significant disagreements with him in some areas, but the short story is he has a web bot software that he's designed that scrapes the internet for conversational content, things that people are saying, writing about different subjects. The subject matter is really not important. He's looking for, analyzing for specific language. And um, the concept is that humans have inherent precognitive ability, and we're not necessarily aware of it, but whatever language we're using, his software attempts to um, use that language to predict what's going to happen, and with some kind of time element attached to it. So the software might say, for example, and I don't know if this is literally true, but it's something like this, right? The software might say, expect a big event, and it's going to affect these segments of the population in this way, and it will happen somewhere between 6 and 12 months from now. So that's interesting and useful. And then Cliff has his own ideas, as we all do, about, well, I don't know, cosmology, philosophy, spirituality, and so on. So we don't have to agree with those, but his content is entertaining and potentially informative and useful, right? So anyway, he's said for a while now that we're entering sci-fi world, and I don't know if he sees it as a new golden age, but that's closely enough correlated with what I'm here to talk about. I want to talk about mostly positive things. So I want to talk about humanity gaining access to technology, a lot of which already exists somewhere on Earth under the control of certain people, but it's a very limited group, and we're not all benefiting from it. Could be free energy, for example. It could be anti gravity. It could be advanced healing technologies, and on and on and on. If you just look at, and there you can find videos on YouTube about this, How would free energy transform society? It would create a new golden age for everybody because we could eliminate poverty, hunger, premature death, and so on and so on. Or most premature death, anyway. Great, very significant, massive global improvements to human society would be the fallout of this. And you can consider the people that are keeping this technology to themselves to be guilty, therefore, of arguably a form of mass murder because a lot of people are dying very unnecessarily of hunger, disease, poverty, and its side effects, and have been for a very long time while these technologies have existed in the background. Just imagine. I mean, I don't know the precise date when free energy was first discovered. I do know what happens to free energy inventions. Well, first of all, it's denied that they exist. That's impossible. Nobody can do that. Bullshit. Excuse my French. But national security considerations. Let me make very big air quotes here. Can you see my hands? National security considerations, which really means the ability of people who are obsessed with money and power to maintain what they have and gain more of it at the expense of the useless eaters, you know, thousands or millions of people who suffer and they don't care. They're psychopaths. They have no conscience. Well, those people are losing their power, and whatever needs to happen to them will happen. I don't know if they'll all be sent to colonies on Mars um, or on some empty planet. Mars is not empty by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. It appears to be on the surface, but there's a lot that doesn't go on the surface, and there are things that do go on the surface that are hidden. But anyway, um, yeah, let's not talk about those people except to say that the dominion they've exercised over all of us is going to be shrinking and crumbling and going away. And we'll learn experientially new nuances and flavors of meaning to words like sovereignty and freedom and prosperity and well-being if we can handle it. So I want to help myself first and foremost, big number one, but I want to help you and you and you and you and you handle it and benefit from it. Let's all get together and help one another, right? And help human society in general. It doesn't have to be limited, and I don't believe it will be limited to subscribers to my channel or subscribers to the channels of people that I admire and listen to and get information from. First, excuse me, first and foremost, I said that a little too loud. Sorry, I didn't mean to shock anyone or hurt anyone's eardrums. But anyway, first and foremost of whom I must say is Elena Danan. So there's a little history between me and Elena, which she's unaware of. I'm just a nobody out here, but I hope to get to know her in the future. That she'll get to know me. But that's another story. That would be like when I expand the channel to the point that there's a significant number of people listening, and I grow my interviewing skills to the point that I can reach out to her and say, Elena, I'd like to interview you, and I hope she'll say yes, and then we can have a lovely discussion and publish it for the benefit of many. But that's in the future. I don't think Elena knows who I am. and she has no reason to. But I know who she is, and how did I figure that out or find out? I think I stumbled onto her channel a couple of years ago, and I wasn't of a mind then to be receptive to a lot of material about ETs and or to New Age language or to a lot of the concepts that are de rigueur from Elena's perspective. So I visited her channel, read a few articles, and said, that's interesting, but I feel an aversion to this and this and this, and and I was stuck in a narrow box type paradigm at the time. Okay, we'll talk about that at some point too. But at any rate, so instead of picking Elena's channel and her work for further investigation at that time, I panned it and panned her respectfully, but I just couldn't take it. Couldn't take it in. I couldn't absorb it. I wasn't ready for it. And then recently, I revisited it, and that came through um, kind of a long process. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but I decided to start listening to Dr. Michael Salla and Exopolitics today, which is his essentially publicity or publication business, right? So Michael, Dr. Salla, has written books, he has YouTube channels, he has a website, and he's been into the exopolitics thing, which is the influence of ETs and disclosure and extraterrestrial contact with certain humans. He's been interested in that for quite a while. I think he started around 20 or more years ago from watching Dr. Stephen Greer's National Press Club briefing that occurred in 2001. I don't know whether Dr. Sala watched it live or later recording of excerpts from it. I watched recordings of excerpts years ago, you know. And again, it was something that was interesting. And I've had an interest in UFOs and ETs since I was a kid, but it hasn't been an overwhelming interest. I didn't become a ufologist, okay? I would read and follow articles and books on ufology and certain authors. And I met Richard Dolan face to face once, not at a UFO conference, but because he gave a talk at an event I attended, which had several people uh, in different subject areas giving short presentations. And Richard gave an excellent one. I spoke with him afterward and enjoyed interacting with him. He's somebody I respect and admire. Okay, and I think he's very level-headed um, and does a good job from his where he chooses to stand of covering UFOs in a big picture, generalized way. Okay. So anyway, I decided at a certain point to start listening to Dr. Sala's videos, and I quickly, through him, discovered Elena again, or came and was confronted with her story. So I went to her website and dug in, and now she has as a prominent link on her homepage a link to an article by Dan Willis on his website assessing her credibility and giving evidence that at least a good deal of certain things about what she says are true or they're attested to by other people. She has scooped NASA and you know other human agencies on a number of occasions. For example, just one example, her Galactic Federation of Worlds contact Thor Han Eridion told her that there was a big earthquake on Mars. Well, a couple of days. think it was a couple of days later, maybe a week or two, NASA published the fact that the biggest earthquake ever seen on Mars had just recently occurred and was detected by their seismographic instruments on the red planet. So there have been other examples like that where Elena would pinpoint something that was happening in the solar system, and then subsequently it would come out in uh, publications. And so, how would she have the ability to scoop those things unless she was talking to somebody that knew? Now you could say, oh, maybe she has a contact in NASA, or maybe she has, a contact somewhere else. But why Elena? When other, let's call them journalists, um, didn't have those contacts, or maybe they were hold, told to hold back on publication for a period of time. Anyway, that's one kind of example. And then there have been other cases where certain other individuals would have correlated experiences correlated to things that Elena claimed happened to her or that she was involved with. So there are quite a few of those, and she has come forth with some interesting intel about other star systems that were later verified by JWST or whatever, by terrestrial science, let's say. So there's that factor. I watched her videos and in short order was just really, I have to admit it, taken with Elena, right? I mean, it's like, wow, she's amazing, right? I mean, I won't go into all the ways, but I could give you a long list. And so I was very favorably impressed with her. And my intuitive sense said, this is an authentic person who tells the truth that you can believe. You can take what she says to the bank. And that's regardless of how outlandish and outrageous some of it seems to be from the conventional thinking tiny box mindset, right? Um, and there have been other factors. There have been other factors. She has taken an oath, the Druids oath, which you can read about on her website. And I've slightly reworded it because I liked it so much. It's kind of like if I'm ever called upon to swear that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. I will say, yeah, I swear that, but I also have a more comprehensive oath, which I swear to. It's the same oath Elena has sworn to. And so because that oath expresses my attitude towards truth, you can absolutely depend on anything I say, unless I'm pulling your leg. But I'll tell you, hey, you know, blah 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 blah. Okay, that was a fictional story or analogy, and the reason I told you that was this. That's not the literal truth. So ultimately, even though I am capable of expounding fiction and may do so under certain circumstances, I think the only people I would lie to and the only circumstances in which I would lie would be if I was dealing with some sort of evil force in personalized form that was trying to exercise, um, what's the word? Not undo, but yeah, one-sided power over me. In other words, they're going, okay, I have evil designs, and I'm going to win at your expense, and you're going to lose. You know, and outside of, let's say, a legal court context, that sort of thing, I might toss off a quick falsehood in their direction to try to get rid of them. But you know, there are, so in other words, I'm saying I think there are circumstances in which it is permissible and It's possible and even recommended to, and I'm going to do air quotes again, lie in the cause of truth, right? Or lie in the cause of truth and equity. Truth and equity go hand in hand. Equity is basic fairness, basic fairness. So truth and equity say if you're doing good, you shouldn't be punished. Nobody would have reason to avenge themselves on you unless they're evil, and things like that. So anyway, Elena has this beautiful oath from the Druids, and it basically says, I am truth. Truth and I are one, and I stand in the truth and I serve the truth. So I thought to myself, if someone states an oath like that, and it's obvious that they mean it seriously, and they're, whether they've explicitly said so or not, they're swearing upon all that they hold sacred. If one then says, "Oh, they're making it up," or "That's just their story that they're selling for money so they can make a living," the person whose mouth utters that kind of thing, or whose, they don't, if they don't say it, they just think it silently. They are seriously dishonoring the oath taker, aren't they? So maybe you should take what that person says very seriously, unless you can flatly and conclusively disprove it. Now, Elena has been fulfilling the role of emissary for the Galactic Federation of Worlds since 2021. Nobody's caught her in any lies. The evidence for many things that she has said is very strong. There's no evidence that I know of that disproves any of it, right? Plus, she took that oath. And Elena also did a recent interview with Jean Charles Moyen, who is a French Canadian gentleman, formerly from France. And he has a very outrageous story regarding his life, what he's been through, what he's seen, what he's done. Very unusual, not like you and I, not like the mundane run of the mill person who may have had nothing paranormal happen to them, or nothing involving going off planet and having exploits as a super soldier in the secret space program. Well, should we believe Jean Charles? Yeah, we should. Why? Well, you know, how many people before an interview or as the prequel to telling their story will quote none other than Carl Sagan and none other than his famous statement, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And then they proceed to lay out the evidence. I mean, anybody can claim any old outrageous story whatsoever, but if you have profound evidence in the form of both, physical evidence and eyewitness testimonies of other people validating a great deal of what you say, not necessarily all of it, but a lot of important points. And you say, well, if unless something Jean Charles says, if I have the proof, I'm going to present it. And I do have the proof. So I did present it. He made a film. He's a filmmaker. So he made a movie. The first movie, there were two movies. The first one was, this is what happened to me and this is what I did. It's an outrageous story. Second video, and here's the proof. And Elena and Jean Charles are close friends. She's close friends with him and his wife, who totally supports what he says. and she's had her own set of experiences too, so of a similar, broadly similar nature. So, yeah, well, why not believe these people? Well, because that makes you a crackpot, right? It's okay. I don't mind accepting that label or similar ones, you know. Um, let's say there are truths that need to be articulated that people need to know about. And in the past, you couldn't talk about those things because people would undertake to smear you and to see that you were exiled or that you were impoverished, you were canceled in the sense of cancel culture and all that stuff. We've turned a corner and all that is going away. Yeah, we can expect some resistance and we can expect trolls and we can expect people to say bad things about us, but it's not going to intimidate people and cause people to follow suit, quite like it happened in the past. And so, let me do this. Let's see, from this side to that side. Okay. So imagine a bell curve, right? Can I do this? Can I do a bell curve? Let's see. Yeah, I can do a bell curve. Okay. Well, I want to go down lower. Bell curve. So we reached a point, a maximum point. Cancellation works. Defaming people because they have unpopular, well, excuse me, because they have unapproved beliefs works. It gets rid of them. It shuts them up. If that doesn't work, we'll kill them. Okay, well, that's just going away, y'all. It's going to be, I'm having trouble here. Trying to draw a smooth curve in the air. I can do it from one side, from this side. No, maybe not. Anyway, forget all that. But you get the idea, right? So there's a lot less worry, and I'm ready to come out of the closet, so to speak, in terms of that whole shebang. And I need to do it, and I think somebody out there needs me to do it, so I'm doing it. Well, what about me? Am I a star seed? Am I a contactee? No, 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 no. Not. I mean, I might be a star seed, but if I am, I don't know it. Don't be surprised if I come on the channel one day and say, well, I recovered certain memories, and or somehow I found out that I'm from Aldebaran or somewhere, or my soul, my last incarnation was somewhere else. But it could happen. I'm not saying it won't. I'm not also not promoting. No, I'm not trying to grease the skids so that the idea can slide right in and be happily and easily accepted by everybody, or at least that everybody will say, "Yeah, I knew you were going to claim that." I have no notion that that's true at this point. Let's say I claim to be a normal terrestrial human without any special abilities. Maybe I don't think anyone is a psychic brick, but I'm closer to that than maybe the majority of people. I am also interested in remote viewing, and I find it's very, very applicable. So I'll be talking about that from time to time on the channel, and talking about psi abilities in general, human abilities, magic, various topics like that. So yeah, that's my intention. New golden age of Terra. So we're entering a new golden age. We'll be getting a lot of advanced technology and a lot of spiritual intel, if you want to call it that will affect profoundly the way people think. We'll be moving away from the old traditional religions that have kept us in very well defined little boxes, right? Well, my box is Buddhism. My box is Islam. My box is Christianity or Judaism or, you know, neo-paganism. I mean, all kinds of things, right? I'm not playing favorites here and bashing some at the expense of others. I don't think, um, well, there are certain forms of neo-paganism. I mentioned Druidry, and there's one thing that Elena and I have in common. She's a certified Druidess. So if you go study the course offered by the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids, you can be initiated as a bard, and then an ovate, and then a druid. And I went as far as being initiated as a bard, and then I deviated and went somewhere else, right? And it's not because I found something terribly wrong with druidry or disliked it. It's just that I had a shiny object syndrome and went somewhere else to investigate another shiny object and never went back. I might go back now or in the near future. But anyway, Elena stuck with it and attained a level of mastery. Okay, Druidry is a good thing, in my opinion, and it's not necessarily incompatible with other beliefs. There are Druids who have a pretty eclectic background and may refer to beliefs and practices that they have retained from other belief systems. And arguably, Druidry isn't even a religion. You can treat it as a religion. It can be your religion, but it doesn't have to be everybody's religion. There can be people who take an interest in it and take it seriously, but who don't consider it a religion and don't treat it as such. But anyway, the recontextualizing of everything we know about everything in light of the ET presence and influence, the effect of that is extremely profound. I can't overstate it, or at least overstate the potential that it has. And I'm on the rocket ship to Mars or the rocket ship to Alpha Centauri since I've discovered, well, that I could go a lot farther into that subject matter than I have in the past. And I've discovered its recontextualizing power. I could ramble on for hours, and I'm not going to do that. But I did want to give you a hint of what I'm up to here. So I'll be commenting, I'll be analyzing, and eventually, maybe soon, I'll start interviewing people. Am I going to get big names on the channel right away to interview? No, I don't think so. But let me start with little names. If you want to be interviewed and you have something to say, you know, put it in the comments and tell me why. Like what subject do you want me to interview you on? And you could we can contact each other privately and discuss the particulars of how an interview might go. And if it seems like a win-win situation, maybe we'll do it. Well, we will do it if we agree that it's a win-win or a potential win-win. Excuse me. So there you go, friends. There's my little wacky live stream, my ramble. But it was a purposeful ramble, and it covered a lot of what needs to be covered. And fortunately, there was a big potpourri of things that needed to be covered. But I will shut this down pretty quickly here and say that if it occurs to me that I've left out anything important from this video, I'll just make another one similar to it. But let's see. I'm going to have the channel. I'm going to have a community somehow, which could be associated with the channel. Maybe I'll do Patreon. Maybe I'll do what else was I thinking of? Well, it doesn't matter. But membership, channel membership. Maybe I plan actually to have a Substack, which will be connected. The content will be a little different, But a lot of what you get on the channel, you'll get a written version or something similar written on Substack that you can take away with you. And I mean, here's what I like to do. I like to formulate things as a PDF file that people can download and save and put in their magazine rack in the bathroom and sit there and read it while they're doing what they have to do. Um, which it's just something I like to do. So, so yeah, Facebook also. So I'll get this all together, and well organized as I move forward. But I wanted to get started. Getting started is really important. If you want to start a YouTube channel, notice you do not need fancy equipment. I'm recording into this microphone right here on this pair of earbuds. What are they? Forget the name. I was going to give you the brand name, but anyway, and I'm recording on Meetin. I mentioned that, didn't I? Yeah. So, I think that's about it for now. All right. So thanks for your time and attention, and I will see you again, or you'll see me again pretty soon. Bye for now.